You know that person who faces a minor disaster, a leaking pipe, or corrupted file, and goes into a complete emotional spiral? Instead of trying to fix it, they freeze. They perform absolute helplessness until you step in, leaving you completely exhausted while they avoid all responsibility. While psychologist Albert Bandura studied self-efficacy, the belief that you are capable, these people mastered the dark opposite. They hold an entirely external locus of control, believing the world is just something that happens to them. This started in childhood, when faced with a broken toy or a loose wire. Instead of trying, they cried. Someone rushed in, coddled them, and completely robbed them of what psychology calls mastery experiences. They learned a toxic survival strategy. Incompetence is power. Look helpless and someone will do the work for you. Because they never had the small wins. They never even tightened a screw themselves. They simply expect to be saved. The dark truth. They refuse to tolerate ambiguity. The second they don't know the answer, they intentionally collapse, weaponizing their helplessness to force you to take control. Let's be brutally honest. Sometimes this isn't genuine weakness. It's a highly calculated coping mechanism wearing a victim's costume. They learned early on that the approval and attention they crave isn't in finding the solution, it's in being saved from it. While others might have genuine curiosity, they possess a toxic apathy. The gap between a broken thing and a working thing is completely uninteresting to them. If you try to explain the details of what went wrong, they instantly tune out, because learning how to do it means they might have to do it themselves next time. Spending time around them is completely exhausting. What they constantly model is that they are a fragile burden for you to carry. They hold their environment hostage. Because they refuse to touch the problem, an unfixed thing in their life immediately becomes your absolute emergency. If you are realizing that you are one of these people who constantly outsources your broken things, I want to say something directly to you. Your history might have taught you that problems are just things that happen to you. But choosing to force the people you love to carry your dead weight is entirely a choice. And if you are the enabler, always rescuing them, you are part of the disease. You rob them of their agency every single time you step in. You have to stop. Let them stare at the broken lamp. Force them to sit inside the ambiguity, because until you stop saving them, they will never, ever try. But here is the most frustrating part. They love to talk about their patterns, but awareness without structure just becomes more material for their brain to loop over. They use psychological buzzwords as an excuse to do absolutely nothing. They see the pattern, they name it, and then nothing moves. There is a massive gap between insight and actual change. But they don't want to cross it. They've actually built a very comfortable home, living permanently inside of it. Why won't they just try? Because competence comes with a terrifying consequence: expectations. If they fix it today, you might expect them to fix it tomorrow. So they stay stuck in the same hesitation, the same endless loop of "I'll start properly next week." But next week never actually comes. For a normal person, broken is not a permanent condition. But for the chronically helpless, broken is their permanent, preferred lifestyle. They completely reject the concept of small wins. They won't just tighten the screw. They refuse to make the call. They just expect to be saved. And if you are the one doing all the heavy lifting, listen to me. Your constant rescuing isn't an act of love. It is an act of destruction. The only way to break this cycle of weaponized incompetence is to let the disaster actually hit them. You have to stop being their safety net. Hand them the wrench. Step out of the room. Let them face the uncertainty, because they will never learn to fix their own lives as long as you keep doing it for them. You might think being left alone with the problem would finally force them to find their own agency, but for the professional victim, actually trying is beneath them. Instead of seeking a genuine mastery experience to build their self-efficacy, they go hunting. They look for a new host, someone entirely naive. They will use the exact language of psychology to paint you as the villain, masking their absolute refusal to try as an emotional trauma, and it works. A new empathetic enabler will step in, picking up the heavy lifting while believing they are saving a helpless victim. Instantly, their performative anxiety vanishes. Their external locus of control is restored, and they are right back in their comfortable bubble, doing none of the work. This is the darkest side of behavioral psychology. It's not that they don't know effort changes outcomes. It's that they know your effort changes their outcomes. Their incompetence isn't a deficit of skill. It is a highly evolved predatory survival strategy. They aren't unable. They are entirely, completely unwilling. So if you are dealing with someone who refuses to sit in the ambiguity of a problem, who demands you fix their life while they spectate, wake up. You cannot love them into capability. You cannot fix them by doing it for them. To them, you are not a savior. You are just a battery to drain. The entire architecture of their survival is built on your exhaustion. Hand them the wrench. Walk away, or they will consume you completely. They love the idea of awareness. They will read all the psychology books not to fix themselves, but to find academic-sounding excuses for why they absolutely cannot function, because awareness without structure just becomes more material for their brain to loop over. They see the pattern, they name it, and they intentionally stay right inside of it. Here is the darkest secret. When no one is looking, when they have absolutely no audience to perform for, they are suddenly, miraculously capable. They know that capability is built on small wins, like just tightening a screw. That is exactly why they refuse them. If they fix one thing, your expectations go up. Meanwhile, the person doing all the saving is slowly destroyed. You give away your own energy, time, and sanity just to keep the helpless person comfortable. They don't want a quick fix. They want a lifelong subscription to your nervous system. They want you permanently chained to their anxiety. If you are the enabler, you have to look in the mirror. You aren't a hero. You are a puppet, and the only way to win this game is to drop the strings. When you finally stop fixing things, they will escalate. They will cry louder. They will perform maximum panic. It is the ultimate standoff. You have to walk out the door. Let them sit in the dark. They will never learn to save themselves as long as you are willing to drown for them. But be warned, a professional victim never stays lonely for long. If you leave, they will simply hunt for someone else.